Now remember, each passing day, the Israeli Defense Forces announce some big Hamas commander being eliminated. Deputy commanders, the head of the aviation wing, the head of the aerial array, the head of their naval wing, etc., etc. So many names, many faces constantly being put out as updates. But the big fish continue to be outside of Gaza, in fact, outside of Israel. They are in Qatar, Iran, Turkey, perhaps in other countries as well. The son of the Hamas's founder, someone who actually got away from the terror group, someone who escaped because he wanted nothing to do with it, has now spoken out. Listen to it.
The people of Gaza are oppressed for so long, and they had to endure siege, they had to endure violence, many wars for the sake of Hamas' lust for power and for Hamas' political ambition.
Mossab Hassan Youssef knows Hamas better than anybody else. His father, Sheikh Hassan Youssef, was one of Hamas's founding leaders.
They start a war every few years. Whenever they want money, they shed children's blood. This is their game. Single misfire killed hundreds of refugees taking shelter at a hospital, and they blamed Israel. What are we talking about here? Israel is a democracy. Israel is accountable. Israel is not thirsty for the Palestinian blood. The Palestinian children, the Palestinian society has been hijacked by these criminals. And anybody who takes their side is participating in their crime. A message to Hamas. You risked the lives of defenseless civilians who entrusted you to govern them, not to use them as human shields. You lived in luxury while the refugees of Gaza starved. You valued your ideals more than you valued human life. Your useless effort has always been to destroy Israel, not to build a Palestinian nation. Unfortunately,
the airstrikes and the ground operations that you see in the northern part of Gaza were very close to where I was reporting from yesterday in southern Israel. Some of it was visible on our cameras, some of it was audible on our cameras as well. The artillery, the tank shelling, and most certainly the plumes of smoke from the airstrikes. Here's the latest that I brought to you from the Gaza frontier. It's day 4 of the scaled-up Israeli Defense Forces ground operation in Gaza. We're here on the frontier with the Gaza fence, and the destruction in northern Gaza is fully visible. Since we arrived here a few minutes ago, there have already been at least 2 airstrikes. You can see the big plumes of smoke behind me from those particular airstrikes. The targets there are being struck even as we speak. If you look into the distance, you can see the effects of continued airstrikes. There are still aircraft buzzing above us, which suggests that the intensity of the first 3 days has not de-escalated just yet. But at the same time, what we've heard from the Israeli Defense Forces, we've been speaking to them today and early this morning as well, is that the ground operation still hasn't achieved the kind of intensity perhaps that most people were expecting. And there are 2 reasons for it. One, the Israeli Defense Forces is keenly aware that there is a live hostage situation that is playing out, especially possibly in northern Gaza, and therefore they have to take all precautions. It can't be a blitzkrieg operation of the kind that happened in 2009 and 2014. At the same time, the IDF is also keenly aware that there is no appetite for more casualties. Many of the people who died on October the 7th were soldiers and members of the military fraternity, and therefore the IDF wants to make sure that this is a minimum casualty operation as far as this ground operation is concerned. The other important aspect is that this very slow inch by inch, meter by meter kind of ground operation that is taking place with the aid of airstrikes shows a kind of collaboration between the special forces on the ground of Israel and the Air Force, which is continuing to pound this area. One had imagined that maybe with the ground operations scaling up just a little bit, maybe the airstrikes would go down, but we've seen incessant airstrikes taking place. 3 since we arrived, 1 while I've been bringing you this broadcast. It's in the distance, probably somewhere near Gaza City, but it's continuing. It's become pretty clear that this ground operation in Gaza is going to be a long and hard one, like the defense minister of Israel had said a couple of days ago. But that is not necessarily good news. The reason, however, why it's taking place in this manner is because the Israeli Defense Forces probably want to try and wear out the Hamas, wear them down, wear down their, their ability to preempt and intercept Israeli forces, and then be able to sort of drive them out so they can be killed in large numbers, and possibly, if any, any of the leaders are remaining, then to actually kind of, force them into some kind of a hostage exchange deal or a hostage release deal. These are very, very difficult situations because it's a shape-shifting circumstance inside Gaza behind me, and therefore nothing is predictable at this point of time. What there appears to be a great deal of unanimity about is that with each passing day, each passing hour, even with Hamas leaders, like a senior combatant and a senior leader being taken out in an airstrike late last night, someone who was in charge of the aviation wing and someone who was in charge of the drone operations, it has become clear that the Hamas will be ever better prepared, because even with the internet lockdown, with the internet and communications no longer operating inside the Gaza Strip, the Hamas is still capable of being in touch with its mentors in Iran, and therefore that means being able to recuperate, rearm, etc. How long this is going to go on for, one doesn't know. It's day 4 here, and the intensity continues to remain the same. This is Shiv Arur in Sderot, southern Israel, on the Gaza border for India Today.